In this next video, I'm going to show how you can adapt your sleeve block to create a sleeve with a pleated head, and you'll end up with a pattern piece which looks a bit like this. For an alternative technique, have a look in the Winifred Aldrich book for the darted sleeve head. You can see some examples of pleated heads on these garments here. This can just add a different technique rather than gathering fully like on the previous example, or having a set-in sleeve. We'll start by tracing the sleeve, and I'm just going to use a shortened version up to the elbow line. Don't forget to mark in your notches. I want to also mark the centre point along the bottom edge, so I can use the bottom of my block to do that and just mark that notch there. And I'm going to draw a dashed line between those 2 points. At this stage, you can decide where you want the darts to go around your sleeve head. So you could decide that you want to have them equidistant of this centre line, or you could perhaps have 1 or 2 on either side. It's entirely up to you. For this example, I want to have 1 pleat towards the front part of the sleeve and 1 pleat towards the back. And I'm going to mark them equidistant of that centre line there. And I'm going to mark that at 2.5 centimetres either side of that line. So I'll draw a line from there parallel to that centre line all the way to the bottom of the sleeve. And now I've done that, I want to cut that pattern piece out. And now I want to cut from the top of the sleeve down to that point at the bottom, leaving a small hinge at the bottom. Make sure that you have cut far enough so that this will act as a hinge without forming folds or creasing as you open those sections out. I want to fix the centre point, the centre strip here, to the paper. So I'll do that with just a little bit of masking tape. And then I want to open these sections up by an equal amount. And I'll open this section up by 3 centimetres on this side, so measuring 3 centimetres across that gap. And doing the same on the other side, measuring 3 centimetres across the gap there. Next, I need to trace the pattern piece off. And I'll do that with baking parchment. Where I've got the gaps here, I'm just going to join with a straight line the top of those two sections on either side. And I'll just extend these lines here slightly. And this is where the pleat will be formed between these two sections. So you can decide whether you want the pleats going in the same direction, whether they fold away from the centre line, or whether they fold towards the centre line. And I'll add in 1 centimetre of seam allowance all the way round. And to mark the grain line, I can use this centre line here, which I drew earlier. And to finish, I'll cut out the pattern piece. And this is my finished pattern piece.